Hello everyone, welcome back to Sonic Boom Goofs. Today we'll be taking a look at episode 5, My Fair Sticksy. So let's get right into it. So this episode starts right off with a meteor shower, but after our first exchange of dialogue, this meteor in particular does not produce a cloud of smoke, which makes it look less convincing than the other meteors. The editors also mirrored the screen around the edges to accommodate for the camera shake, which looks pretty weird once it's pointed out to you. A few shots later, we can see Knuckles, Tails, and Amy standing behind Sonic, but in the very next shot, they're nowhere to be seen. Later at Tails' house, Styx comes in with a letter she has just received, but there are some odd things going on the left side of the screen here. First of all, since we know that Tails is sitting on this couch, I feel like he should be at least somewhat visible in this shot. And when Amy starts to walk into frame, there appears to be a gap in her shadow. Her shadow also stretches up the left side of this gap. Moving on, while Amy and Styx are listening to Sonic read the letter, something strange has happened to Amy's socks. It makes it look like her legs and her socks are connected like those interlocking foam mats. Now after Comedy Chimp gets turned down and starts to walk out of the house, the wires that are normally supporting this couch are missing. I'll go ahead and let this slide though, since they were obviously removed on purpose so they wouldn't obstruct the shot. But as Sonic continues to read the letter, there's now a weird dark spot on it which isn't present in any other shot. Sonic's shoes are also sunken into the rug. Now listen to when Amy says "why not?" You can tell from the abruptness of the T sound that her voice line was cut short.
What? Why not? Well...
It's also worth noting that the positions of the coffee table and rug have been quite inconsistent throughout this entire scene. Now moving on to a different scene, that same weird problem with Amy's socks appears again. This same goof goes on to appear in 2 more scenes. And when Amy opens her eyes here, she momentarily has double eyelashes. Now for a goof that I wouldn't have noticed without the Sonic Wiki, when Styx is learning how to hold a teacup properly, her eyelashes are missing. Now during the dance scene, Tails' drum playing isn't animated correctly. A cymbal sound is heard when all he hits is this drum.
Step! 1, 2, dip! Why is the music controlling us?
Sonic and Styx are now much closer to the backdrop than they were before. And when Styx starts to struggle, her arm clips right through Sonic's chest. Also, her skin clips through her skirt. Then, when Sonic and Styx fall down, we can see that they've fallen clear past where the doorway is, but in the next shot, they're right in front of the door. And the backdrop cloth is floating. Later at the mayor's mansion, as Sonic is walking Styx down the stairs, the bottom part of his jacket flips up a little bit, and the button clips right through the fabric. Over at the concession table, take note of this golden object that's behind the hemp seed quiche. In the next shot, it's replaced by this very different looking bronze object.
Ugh, more like goat cheese and a red radicchio spread.
Now this could be considered a goof, since what Knuckles actually tried was the hemp seed quiche and not the goat cheese with red radicchio spread. However, I highly doubt that Knuckles would have actually been thinking about that when he made the joke. As Mayor Fink makes his speech, he holds a spoon in his right hand, but 1.5 seconds later, it's gone.
Check out that ridiculous hat!
Also check out how high up on the wall it is, because a few shots later, it's now mounted lower down. Then, when Knuckles and Beaverton fist bump, about 2 frames after their fists make contact, Knuckles' fingers jump to a more relaxed position. I also find it strange that there doesn't seem to be anybody else in the room during this conversation. Now during this entire dinner table scene, there are a number of inconsistencies with the placement of the silverware and chairs, and sometimes the candlesticks in the middle of the tables are removed so they don't obstruct the shots. Instead of me trying to describe every single inconsistency individually, let's just count them all as one collective goof and call it square. One silverware related goof that I will count separately is that this utensil appears to be floating a little bit. Also notice that there's clearly nobody behind Styx here, but in the next shot, half the village's population is there. Now look closely when Eggman walks in. We can see Wildcat standing here just behind Eggman. Well, Eggman was actually supposed to be layered behind Wildcat, because when Eggman passes by, he pushes Wildcat out of the way, but this effect was completely messed up due to the incorrect layering. So anyway, Eggman doesn't win the award and launches an attack, but when everyone runs out of the room, all the tables have disappeared. But once the tables return to this plane of reality, Eggman attempts to hit Sticks with a robot arm, which clearly pierces into the platform, but doesn't leave a hole or mark or anything. Now look what happens when Eggman's laser flips this table over. For the first 2 frames of flipping over, the table moves, but the tablecloth stays in place. It catches up by the 3rd frame though. Now when Eggman shoots a second laser, the puff of smoke seems to appear before the laser actually hits the ground. And the 3rd laser seems to hit the floor quite close to the camera, but the puff of smoke appears far away. Also note that all of the items that should be on these tables are missing.
That's it! I'm sick of being proper!
Now we could be picky and say that Stick's necklace should have been visible underneath the dress. However, I think we can excuse that for cartoon logic. But this piece of the dress on the floor is floating. We can tell by the way the floor moves underneath it as the camera zooms out. Now here's a fun fact. The frustrated vocal sound that Sticks makes before tearing off the dress is actually played in reverse. Here's how it sounds in the episode. And here's how I believe the sound was actually recorded. Pretty interesting. Getting back to the Goofs, if you've been paying attention to this fight so far, you'd know that Eggman is on the side of the room with the platform, and Sticks is on the side opposite. But now all of a sudden they've switched places, and Sticks is next to the platform. There's also no trace of those knocked over tables anymore. And then we're reminded of Sonic, Amy, Tails, and Knuckles being trapped in these bubbles, which somehow stayed out of frame for this entire fight. Now just a couple more table-related goofs. This table's items are missing, and then it just disappears altogether. So then, in the final scene, after Sticks speaks to Leroy Turtle, Mayor Fink is standing behind Leroy when moments ago he was standing off to the side. Then it appears that all of the bystanders in the room have vanished. And then Amy walks up to Sticks from the right, when before she was standing off to the left.
Think you can teach me how to do that? Sure!
The flies and sound effects imply that this dumpster is filled with garbage, but previously we could see that this dumpster is actually completely empty. So there you have it. That made for about 45 goofs in episode 5. As per usual, let me know in the comments if you know of any other goofs that I didn't point out. But until next time, thanks for watching.